You're just like saying words that sound somewhat poetic. If you made sense, you'd be like a good rapper. Right now you're like just above Lil Pump. So like you have a vocabulary, but you're still saying nothing. What's up guys? Welcome to Boss Level 8, where we make fun of movie critics. We watched the movie Bad Samaritan with David Tennant and the guy from Misfits, whose name I can't remember, which is probably bad if I'm reviewing a review of this movie. But who cares? But before we take a look at Keith Ullich's review of this movie together for the first time, hit that subscribe button and that little bell right next to it if you like what you see, and you can see our videos every single time they come out. Now let's take a look at this guy's review. How indeed do you follow up Geostorm? If you're Dean Devlin, you take one of the lesser known cast members of that disastrous 2017 disaster movie from which Devlin was removed during reshoots, abscond to Portland, Oregon, my home away from home, per his press notes director's statement, with a Dreckish screenplay by Brandon Boyce, apt pupil, and make a low-budget serial killer thriller so ludicrous and imbecilic that it's almost charming. Almost. Wow. That insult took a lot of research. It's almost flattery. You had to look up the fact that he was cut out of that movie, find other things that people were in. Like, you didn't just automatically know that stuff. You researched to give an insult. I'm kind of impressed. Obstacles are legion, be it the high-tech surveillance in Cale's building that's controlled by remote app, or the fact that Sean's lawless pursuits severely lessen his credibility with local authorities. But the biggest obstruction might be Cale himself, with his bug-eyed stare of death, his uncanny ability to be seemingly everywhere at once, and his infantile psycho tantrums, which are rooted, as a hilarious, twice-repeated flashback reveals, in a childhood trauma involving an untamed horse. You keep saying obstacles. I'm really confused about this obstacle thing. Like, you think it's an obstacle in the movie as the characters of the movie, an obstacle of the movie being good, like why the movie wasn't working? It's kind of unclear. Although it'd be nice to hear you read my dinner menu. I don't know what your voice sounds like, but actually, you know what? I'd rather you just write my dinner menu. It'll be well researched. I won't know what the fuck I'm ordering, but hopefully it'll be good and not a untamed horse. Tennant is awful, by which I mean wonderful, by which I mean truly terrible, yet in a legitimately magnificent way, I think. Fuck. Stop. Stop doing that. All of that. Oh, man. I've been in relationships like that. When someone goes, "Do you like this color on me?" and you have no idea what to say. No. This is a you can't kill that performance par excellence, beginning at peak nutball and staying breathlessly atop the trash heap. Man, you are not giving any kind of inclination as to what this movie is about or if anyone should see it at all. You're just like saying words that sound somewhat poetic. You're like, if you made sense, you'd be like a good rapper. Right now you're like just above Lil Pump. So like you have a vocabulary, but you're still saying nothing. There's a scene in which Cale sneaks into Sean's apartment while he's showering and aims a gun at his unaware prey. Tennant is all skulky glower. He could be Hannibal Lecter's distant cousin, until he suddenly diffuses the tension by emphatically not shooting his weapon. Yeah. It's really weird. You're like describing scenes. I don't know what you think of this movie yet at all. Like, you're beautifully describing things. I don't know what is this? Boom, he says, mock firing a bullet while dismissively arcing his arm like a snooty girl in ballet class. What is that? And why do you know that? How do you know what a snooty girl in ballet class does, creep? He can't take any of this seriously, and he's having a ball of a time doing it. Yeah, he's having fun being a psycho. That makes sense. Like, how serious did you want him to take it? Did you want him to actually kill people? Because that's a method acting that maybe like Jared Leto might do, but I don't think David Tennant would go that far. There are worse things than watching a former Doctor Who slumming it with such relish. At his shoutiest, Tennant seems like he's been possessed by that long-running sci-fi series maniacal big bad Davros. I wonder if David Tennant hates the fact that anytime anything else he does, Doctor Who's brought up. I I wonder if that's a thing. I love Doctor Who, and I love David Tennant. And yes, I immediately think the Doctor when I think that. But I wasn't like comparing his psycho killer character in this to Doctor Who while I was watching it. Or to another character in Doctor Who while watching it, which is even weirder. The rest of the cast could barely keep up with his insanity, though that doesn't prevent Sheehan from turning on the little hipster lost charm, or Condon from valiantly attempting to lend shades to her woman in perpetual peril. There's so little about this movie going on. It sounds like there's substance, but there's so little about this yet. It's like a profile on Tinder. It looks like there's a lot there, but there isn't. You can learn more from the pictures, depending on the angle. Yeah, anyone can look good from up here. Should you find yourself in front of Bad Samaritan, and that could only ever be by force or out of sheer masochism, or you just wanted to go see a movie that had David Tennant in it, because that's pretty similar to what happened to us, just sit back and revel in the verdant Portland scenery, or marvel at the ill-fitting orchestral score by Joseph. Portland is pretty, this music sucks. That's what I got from this movie. Wow. You could have gotten that by hanging out in Portland. There's some shitty music there. There's good music too, but just go see a shitty band in there while watching the tree. Get to the end, and you might even find yourself pining for Godzilla 1998. Perish that thought. What? You just randomly picked a bad movie that had nothing to do with any kind of serial killer or thriller? That's bullshit. That is not a good analogy or comparison. You were flower writing the entire time and making everything sound so interesting, even though there was no substance whatsoever to your review, and then you end with a horrible, horrible joke and analogy that makes no sense. Why didn't you just say another thriller that's bad? Or another thriller involving a psycho killer that's bad? That's so dumb. It's like, hey, instead of watching Power Rangers, you all of a sudden might end up wanting to watch Birdman. That makes no sense, Keith. What did you guys think of Bad Samaritan if you saw it? If you didn't, you guys should definitely check out the trailer. It hit on some points, didn't hit on other points. That's my kind of take on it. But either way, this review is stupid and kind of gave us nothing. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the movie, what you thought of the review. If you watched the trailer, haven't seen the movie, what you thought of that. Anything about this movie, let us know. We'd love to hear what you have to say. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button and that little bell right next to it so you can get notified every single time we have a new video out. And until we see you next time, geek out and game on.